Yeah, hi there. These comments are for Susan, and I am Michael, the founder, owner, and the materials writer for all of your lessons at the 7-step system to pass a TOEFL IBT. And I'm going to go ahead and respond to your comments. I might make a few changes on what you said to help you a little bit with your language use. And you can probably do this. My name is Susan. Who is a nurse. Or how about this? You can say, my name is Susan, a nurse who graduated outside of the United States. I'm going to go ahead and make these large caps here. You say I would use present perfect here. I have never taken the TOEFL exam. You should probably use present perfect there. I've never taken the TOEFL exam, and now I am trying to take it as soon as possible. The state which I live in asked me to take the TOEFL exam and bring the certificate within 6 months. After that, I might be able to continue my profession. I really don't know what to do. Maybe where do I go, and where should I start first? As we know, learning a second language is not easy. But I want to overcome it as soon as possible. After hunting, I think here the better word here is searching. So after searching websites and blogs, I saw your page and some of your videos, which really inspired me to contact you. And I think you want to say here, and to become one of your online students. If it is possible. So I want your advice, please. You have, is it possible to finish All right, so the question here is it possible to finish the TOEFL exam within 6 months and pass it with a good score? What are the requirements to pass? I want to say here, the TOEFL exam, what are tips and rules? You might want to say, what are the tips and rules that I can follow How about, we'll get rid of all these obstacles and frustrations around me? Really, I would appreciate if you could reply. How about this? If you could answer my questions. Thanks for your time. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to you too. Wow, you got a lot of questions here. Okay, so let's take a look at some of your questions. So you say, what are the requirements to pass the TOEFL exam? Believe it or not, there are no specific, what we call, there's not like a passing score that's good for all universities and all programs. Different programs and universities have different requirements. Okay, now in your case, there are specific programs, for example, graduate programs here in the United States. Most graduate programs require a minimum of 80 to 81 points or higher out of 120 on the TOEFL, right? A lot of undergraduate programs require 60 or 61. Now, in your case, you want to be a nurse here in the United States. This is a healthcare type job. Nurses, doctors, physical therapists, pharmacists, they have very specific requirements. So you need to get approximately 89 out of 120 on the TOEFL IBT. The reading section, your score needs to be about 21 points out of 30. In the listening section, you need to get at least 18 points or higher out of 30. The speaking, this is where you really have a difficult obstacle. You need to get 26 points out of 30 on the speaking. In the writing section, you're going to need to get 24 points or higher out of 30 in that section. That's the requirements for you, right? So I think I've answered that question. You say, what are tips and rules that I can follow so that I will get rid of all of these obstacles and frustrations around me? In your situation, it's not just tips and rules. It's not just becoming familiar with the TOEFL exam or understanding the certain tips and tricks of taking the TOEFL exam. You actually need to build your academic English language proficiency. You need to improve your English before excuse me, before you can do anything. So, and if I'm guessing right now, I mean, to be honest with you, your score right now, based on your writing and what I'm saying here, your score is probably right now between 40 and 60 points out of 120. That would be my guess right now. I know that you have not taken the TOEFL test yet, but I can analyze your writing, and I can tell by all the writing problems you have that you have a more of a maybe low intermediate to intermediate level with your English abilities. Okay, so here are my suggestions for you, but going back to your question here, you say, is it possible to finish the TOEFL exam within 6 months and pass getting this score? So if your score is around 40 points out of 120 right now, that means you need to get 49 additional points. It's going to be hard, but it's possible. There are things that you can start doing on a regular basis, right? That's part of what I want to do in this video, is to begin outlining the specific steps that you can take to begin improving your academic English language proficiency. First of all, one of the most important things you can do right now is to start reading for about 45 minutes. This is very important. Don't let a day go by right now that you have not read something. You can read a newspaper, art, magazines, maybe books. Books are especially good because if you're reading a book, you read the book and you go through several chapters. You begin putting together all the pieces of the story and all of that. So that's going to be really good for your English proficiency abilities. The next thing, you should also start listening for about 45 minutes every day. This is also going to be important. Now, as you do the reading and the listening practice, you should do note-taking. You should focus on the main and the most important supporting points of the reading and the listening passages. Now, if you need some suggestions on the listening, if you have English TV, this is the most important thing. If you can listen to documentary history, science type programs, even news programs. I think that's going to be very effective for you. Now, if you do not have English TV, write down these 3 websites. This is the first one. Do this one first. Randall's Cyber Listening Lab. You can focus on the easy, then the medium, and then the more difficult exercises. The next website is National Public Radio, and then the third one is TED Talks. So National Public Radio and TED Talks, these will be effective, I think, once you're done with Randall's Cyber Listening Lab and you actually feel pretty comfortable even with the more difficult exercises at that website, then you can go to National Public Radio and TED Talks, and you can continue to practice your listening. Now remember, as you're doing the reading and the listening practice, you are focusing on the notes, the main and the most important supporting points of the reading and the listening passages. Now, using your notes, I want you to write 3 250-word summaries each week. What you're doing is you're summarizing a reading or listening passage, and the summary should be about 250 words, and in your own words, using your own grammar and your own vocabulary, you're trying to re-explain the information that you just read or you just listened to. Now, the 5th suggestion. In addition to writing about the reading and the listening passages, again using your notes, you should also speak about them. So give maybe 3 60-second oral summaries. I think this is also very, very important for you. Now, as you do your oral summaries, I even recommend, Susan, that you record. You record your voice, save it either on your phone or on your notebook computer or your iPad or whatever, and then you can listen to it later on and you can critique, or you can focus on your speaking and pronunciation in 3 areas. Delivery, which means pronunciation, language use, which refers to vocabulary and grammar, and then also topic development, which refers to the organization and development of your ideas. Now, you do not need to be confused any longer. So you're saying up here, I think that you said, I don't know what to do. You're not sure what you need to do. You now know. Beginning today, you have 5 things that you can start doing every day to help you improve your academic English language proficiency. And ultimately, this will help you to improve your TOEFL score, trust me. But remember that your English abilities right now are pretty low, so it's important you focus a lot on the basics. So 60% of your time right now should be focused on these first 5 areas. Now, the next thing that you need to do is, I'm pretty sure you're probably already one of my students, because you made a comment over at my blog, and it's welcome to my 7-step system. The only way students typically get to that web page is if they've joined my course and become one of my students. So now what I want to do is to tell you how you can use my course. Remember, you got to be patient, and I'm going to say 40% of your time each day that you study should be focused on the next few suggestions that you'll see in this video. So first of all, I want you to start with the vocabulary, pronunciation, grammar sections of my course. You want to do these first. So what you can do is each day you can schedule specific time to study in my online TOEFL course. So you can do a vocabulary lesson, then you can do a pronunciation lesson, then you can do a grammar lesson. Once you've done that, then you can go back to a vocabulary lesson, then a pronunciation lesson, and then a grammar lesson. So you're trying to avoid burning out. If you focus too much in the same area, you could get a little burned out. But if you're studying a variety of things to improve your English, that should stimulate your brain. All right? So that's what I recommend first. It'll probably take you up to maybe 2 months, maybe 3 months to complete these first 3 sections. They're very, very important. All 3 of these sections are very, very important for you. I already told you, you need a very high score on the speaking and writing sections of the test because you want to be a nurse here in the United States. So you have to have very, very high level English proficiency. Now, once you've done these 3 sections, then you can complete the listening and the reading sections of my course. This will probably take you another 1 to 2 months. Now, this is very important because you're now working on improving your listening comprehension. You're also working on your reading comprehension and especially your reading speed. Now, after 1 or 2 months there, then you can complete the writing and speaking sections of my course. You can do that. That'll probably take you maybe another 2 months. Now, when you need to, maybe every 2 to 3 months, you should take a full-length IBT practice test so you can mark your progress. You're probably not even ready to take a practice test yet because your English skills need to improve a little bit more. But when you're ready, you can go to the 8th section of my course and you can take what's called a full-length TOEFL IBT practice test. Now, there are benefits to doing this. There's really 3 benefits of taking a full-length IBT practice test. Number 1, obviously, you can mark your progress. You can see how close you are to this goal. You need to see, you need feedback. What is your overall score when you take the IBT full-length practice test? Is it close to 89? What is your subtotal score in the reading, listening, speaking, and writing sections? So by taking a full-length practice test, you can actually mark your progress. The second benefit, Susan, of taking a full-length IBT practice test is you can work on building your strength and stamina that's needed to complete a 5-hour English exam. Have you ever sat down for 5 straight hours to take an English test? You think that's easy? Of course not. So you have to get used to that. Now, the third benefit of taking a full-length IBT practice test is you can become a little more familiar with your specific areas that you need to improve on. You'll as you get your subtotals, you can say, oh, I need to focus a little bit more maybe in the speaking and the writing sections based on my goal. You see what I'm saying, Susan? So that's pretty much it. So basically what I've outlined in this video, I tried to give you some good suggestions of how you can improve your academic English language proficiency so that you can reach your goal. I just explained 9 specific things that you can start doing each day. Excuse me. Now what I'm saying is if you set aside 4 hours, or let's say 6 hours, if you're studying 6 hours a day, I would recommend 60% of your time should be spent going through the first 5 steps in this video, and then 40% of your time should be spent going through these steps 6 through 9. And 9 is just something that you do maybe once or twice before you take the TOEFL exam. But I'm telling you, it's a combination, I think, of following these 9 steps each day so you can begin improving your academic English language proficiency, and ultimately you can get closer toward reaching your goal. All right, Susan, anyway, thank you very much. If you have any other questions, you can make another comment right where you made the comments here, or you can send me an email if you like. And all the best to your high-scoring TOEFL success.